Good evening, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, Guten Abend, Swagatam, Suswagatam. Welcome one and all for the fifth webinar of Swasti Shri. My name is Nagashri and I will be your host for today's session. Swasti Shri. What is Swasti Shri? It's the wealth of health and well-being. It's a series of 12 webinars covering 12 different topics to support expat Indians with various important day-to-day living issues, well-being of an individual from all perspectives, body, mind, and soul. Swasti Shri invites expert speakers addressing each individual topic for the each chosen individual topic for the month and what's great, what needs to be improved, and how we can benefit are the important aspects of discussion. Started in the month of November, this has been the fifth session and it can be caught up if missed on YouTube or through Bhogya homepage. But before we begin, a few ground rules. I request all of you to turn on your videos during the Q&A session because I think after 2 years of Corona and just looking at screens and names, it would be nice to have a look at all of you in person during your Q&A sessions and at least interact each other with videos. Of course, during the session, you are free to leave any questions or comments and feedback in the chat window at any point. All the questions will be taken during the Q&A at the very end of the session after both our chief speakers are done with their presentations. So yeah, and the last rule and a request, we request you to keep yourself muted through the session other than the Q&A out of, just respect for the speakers and for the whole session. So, right, I was talking to you about what Swasti Shri is. The aim of Swasti Shri is to invite people who are expert speakers addressing each individual topic for the given webinar session with respect to what's great and what needs to be improved and how we can benefit from the whole session as in for the given topic. This series was started by Bhogya in the month of November last year, 2021, and today is the fifth session. So I've been saying Bhogya, Bhogya. What exactly is Bhogya? So Bhogya.online is something that I got to know of, think about 2 years back, right? Because they just celebrated their second birthday last year in November. And 2020, I met the founder of Bhogya and I got to know about it. And ever since then, I've been following very interesting website or platform for with a lot of useful information, not just as an expat. Indian expat, but also as an Indian with rich cultural and um, traditional information related also to mythology and a lot of stories and very, very interesting. I would request all of you to go have a look at Bhogya online if you haven't done so earlier. So Bhogya, what does Bhogya actually mean? We know that Bhogya is an object of enjoyment in or object of experience. Every form of enjoyment we know of is a bhogya vastu, as in Sanskrit, or an object of enjoyment or experience, be it good music, good food, good book, or even a nice conversation with a friend. So bhogyam in Sanskrit means pleasure or enjoyment, that which is experienced. The vision to have a world that is lovable and sustainable is a just cause, and Team Bhogya is ready to work hard to slowly. Um, just a second, I've been having a few. Yes, accept. Right. Yeah, I hadn't accepted that. I'm okay with the video being recorded. I'm sorry. Yeah, think everything is in order right now, Maltiji? I hope so. Right. Yeah. So the vision to have a wonderful world which is lovable and sustainable is a just cause. I think we all agree to that, and Team Bhogya is ever ready to work hard to slowly advance towards such a world. Sustainability does not come with a few cosmetic changes in lifestyle, and Team Bhogya believes that these must be addressed at the grassroots level, meaning that the very thought needs to progress towards a better life and better world. For it is the thought that differentiates one human being from another, and with better thoughts, a better world can be achieved. The aim of Bhogya is to provide experiences that matter to make the world more lovable and a better place to be and live in. Bhogya, like I said, completed its second anniversary and is running into its third anniversary now. Last year in November, they celebrated their second birthday and got introduced Swasti Shri webinars for all of us to benefit from. This Bhogya has been founded by Srimati Malati Krishnaswamy. She is an engineer, entrepreneur, podcaster, a motivational speaker, and a very lovable, sweet person that I have met. Her idea is to engage, enrich, and elevate for personal growth. So, topic for today, why are we all here? I am a lady, a woman, and this is all I think generalizing today's topic as just for women is one part, but even I think this is beneficial to men and children as well, much of it. But enough of my talking, let me tell you what it is. Pulling on your curiosity without pulling on your curiosity any further. We all know and agree that women are the backbone of any family. And I'm not saying this because I am one, but I'm saying this because I've seen my mother being the backbone of my family and my grandmother being, and so on. The role of women in the development of society is of utmost importance. In fact, it is the only thing that determines whether a society is strong and harmonious or otherwise. Women are the backbone of the society, says even Shri. I was just reading a book recently based on Afghanistan and a lot of history that has happened there. And today's topic somehow pulled those strings of how emotional I got while reading this book. Um, and this was all women centric. So I think today's topic is really important because it's about women and their holistic well being. But what is holistic well being? It's not just physical well being, but holistic health is an approach to life considering the many dimensions of wellness. And it encompasses not only the physical well being, which includes food and nutrition, hormone balancing, fertility, menstrual health, but also emotional health, self care, social health, spiritual development, mental health, and mental development. Any individual is an active participant in his or her own health decisions and healing processes, including a wellness oriented lifestyle choice. Holistic approaches to health are derived from ancient healing traditions that help to achieve higher levels of wellness and prevent diseases. These approaches include the use of traditional medical systems, mind body spirit interventions, manipulative and body based approaches, biological based therapies, and energy therapies. So that leads to exactly what our speaker today, the first speaker today, will be talking about. The importance of holistic health to women in the current times, that is, with the lifestyle change, physical and mental stress levels is going to be elaborated upon by Srimati or Mrs. or Frau Gayatri Puranik. I can say so because she's been living in Germany for a long time now. So, a little about our first speaker. I would like to introduce her and welcome her to today's platform. So, Gayatri Puranik is an entrepreneur in Germany. She has a BA in economics and psychology from the University of Mumbai and a degree of applied linguistics from the University of Heidelberg and Mainz in Germersheim. She has been living and experiencing European history in Heidelberg and Frankfurt ever since. I think about 30 years, as far as I understand, right? Right. Yeah. Yeah. And she started her business of import of Ayurvedic products. And she's the founding board member of Adaved, Ayurveda Dachverband Deutschland, or Ayurveda Umbrella Associations of Germany. And today's topic, holistic health, is a huge, vast topic. I mean, it involves so many layers and aspects to it. And it is only but clear to all of us that within just an hour, it is simply impossible to cover the entire topic. So our speakers have chosen small portions of it, and I'm sure we will be well enlightened by the end of the hour. It's going to be really interesting. And Gayatri ji will be speaking about, would like to, yes, draw attention to the holistics as understood in Ayurveda. And of course, the concepts of women's health and well-being from the perspective of Ayurveda. So it's now to you, Gayatri. I welcome you to address the audience.
Thank you very much. I'm clear, right? You can hear me well? Okay. Yes, thank you. Right. So as Nageshri said, I have been in Germany for the past 30 years and have had a very enriching time in Germany, and feel, since I have been occupied with Ayurveda for the last 20 years, the products that I import have been from the family company in India. So in India also, I'm deeply connected to Ayurveda. And through this connection and trying to explain Ayurveda in Germany, I have always had to continuously look at our traditions and evaluate them and see whether they can still be valid in a foreign context. I have kind of, directly jumped into the topic, women and holistic well-being. I mean, as Nageshri said, it is an extremely wide topic, and I was also a little challenged as to where do I keep it short and brief so that today you can take something valuable with you. I looked up the definitions of well-being and holistic, and women, I think, as Nageshri has also said, we have to think of ourselves first as human beings and then as women, since all these concepts of health, of well-being, of fitting into society, of holisticness, all that pertains to us as human beings first and women second. So it is important also in our role in society to ensure that we as women are accepted first as women, as human beings, and second as women, especially nowadays where we have a lot of, where all of us are probably working in a profession or the other, and we're talking about equality, we're talking about equal chances, we're talking about career and family, the conflicts that might occur, etc., etc. So, and we as women do have a tougher time in spite of all the modern legal situation and the modern legal possibilities. it is a fact that we women have to work harder to prove ourselves than the men have had to do so far. Right, let me go back to holistic well-being. And the view of Ayurveda. I mean, Ayurveda is really unique in that it is so connected with nature, and that, you know, the term holistic um, is an English word. It is not there in Sanskrit because our philosophy in India encompasses not just, as Ayurveda says, it is the knowledge or science of life. We do not just talk of life as in the individual life, but we talk of the universe. The philosophies talk of us as being part of the universe, and we are all interconnected. So that this framework of holisticness goes far beyond just one single life. If we look at well-being and holistic health or well-being, we have a couple of explanations and definitions in Ayurveda, and I found one which was a kind of which I thought, you know, was quite fitting for today, and it's a little long, so I'm going to read it out, and I'd like to also, you know, compare that with the definition that the World Health Organization gives. The World Health Organization says, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Now, the understanding from the point of view of Ayurveda about health or well-being, or what is a human life, what constitutes a human life, is far, far wider. And some of the concepts of what belongs to life and health and holisticness or well-being are inherent and are kind of a prerequisite to the results that we can have through Ayurveda. The explanation that is given in Charaka Samhita, which is one of the textbooks of Ayurveda, says people whose body and mind are disease-free, and those who are endowed with or possess youth, enthusiasm, strength, virility, reputation, courage, healthy senses, objects of sensory perception, riches, and various luxurious articles for enjoyment, and who can achieve whatever they want and can think about wellness, they can enjoy a happy life. The people with opposite characteristics have a sad life. This is kind of typical for the Sanskrit verses. But it doesn't stop there, it goes on. Those who are the well-wishers of all beings, who do not wish to take others' wealth, who are truthful, peace-loving, who are thoughtful before taking action, who are vigilant, who experience the three important objectives of life, that is righteousness, wealth, and desire, without one affecting the other, who respect superiors, who are endowed with the knowledge of the arts and sciences and tranquility, and serve the elders, who have full control over lust, anger, envy, arrogance, and pride, who constantly indulge in various types of charity, meditation, acquisition of knowledge, who have full spiritual knowledge and are devoted to it, who work both for the present as well as for the next life, and are endowed with memory and intelligence, lead a useful, rather beneficial lives, while others don't. This was a very long explanation, but if you would notice it when we talk about youth, enthusiasm, strength, and courage, bodily health and bodily functioning of all our organs and all our bodily processes is a prerequisite. it is kind of taken for granted. It is not specifically mentioned that this and this and this has to be there. So I have taken here an explanation which goes beyond the so-called body, mind, and soul sphere. There is another definition in Ayurveda which talks about samadosha, sama agni, etc., which is a very small, very short, very brief stanza, but also goes into. It's very brief, but it literally means a lot more than the brief stanza. But with this kind of explanation about what is the meaning of life, and especially there are 2 points. One where you say that the important objectives is righteousness, wealth, and desire. The words in Sanskrit would be dharma, artha, and kama. Moksha is what we also want to achieve, but dharma, artha, and kama. These are 3 objectives which are very important for our well-being, and to kind of also go into what is important for us as women. Look at righteousness, look at wealth, and look at karma. We as women who have now come into the professional working world might have certain deficits when we think of money, when we think of managing finances, when we think of having the responsibility for our families, etc. So, those are certain things that we might need to learn in a different way than the generations before us. So that's something that needs to perhaps improve and change, that we also take certain things, certain rights for ourselves and acquire certain competencies which traditionally were not kind of taught to us by our grandmothers, for example. So we have learned a lot about righteousness, and we might have also learned a lot about how to care for people, how to, make everybody, oneself as well as everybody, happy and satisfied, and have an emotionally balanced, emotionally harmonious surrounding. But we as women have not always been taught about managing wealth in a sensible manner, in a manner which will help us to stand on our own feet, or be able to also take for us and ourselves. So those are things that I think still need to be improved. Generally, we are always taught to be, sparsam. The word in English means not to, a spendthrift, right? The English word. Not to spend too much money. We're always kind of, taught to be careful. But that is, I think, something where we need to, change a bit and bring ourselves as full-fledged human beings in life in the modern world. And the other part which I found very good in this explanation was, it's not just the body, mind, emotional, social well-being, but also the moral and the ethical part, which is very important for us, for humans. You feel good about something when you know that it is morally and ethically correct. If you feel that something is not right, then you have this nagging part in you, which is mental and emotional as well as spiritual, and at some point of time can also have a bodily effect. So I think this moral ethical part, which is there in this explanation, which is included in the word righteousness or dharma, I think comes through in Ayurveda, which is perceived to be a system of medicine, but here you can see that all our sciences are holistic. So the word holistic, when we speak in English or try to understand it from the Western point of view, is actually superfluous, because our concepts in the Vedas as well as in yoga, Ayurveda, encompass so much more than the simple word holistic in English. Another point which I found, is inherent there and is very important today is the concept that you are not only thinking of the present life, but also the next life. When you talk of the next life, you're talking of preserving nature. You can take it that you're thinking of conserving nature. You're thinking of not just now, as in, the short-term benefits that you can have, but whether you think of your own next life or you think of your children's lives and the lives of the coming generations. So when you're thinking of the next lives, this aspect of respect and conservation of nature, which is now which is now, like very, very important in the term sustainability and preserving nature. I mean, it's there in our understanding of what we need for our human well-being. It's this respect for nature as well as a long-term perspective for not just ourselves, but for our families and the community as well as nature. Right. So that is, in brief, a kind of explanation and to show the depth that we have in Ayurveda for the understanding of health and well-being, which is not just for our individual life, but also for the whole of humanity. I think Nageshri also had, went into aspects of these as well. For us as women, when we come to the West, we do enjoy, I would think we do enjoy a little more freedom than we have, than we might have in India. If I talk from my personal experience, I did enjoy not having somebody looking over my shoulder and telling me, don't do this, don't do that, you have to do it like this, etc. So I was kind of forced to think of how was a certain thing done when I was small. I thought of what did my mother do in this situation? And I might have tried one or the other thing which my mother had done and, just followed suit. But since we are in a completely new concept and completely new framework here, sometimes you have to kind of take a step back and see if it works, if it is still the right thing to do. And you might need to revalidate whatever you had learned as a young person in India and look at your traditions anew. Certain traditions make sense and certain traditions need to be adapted. So, this kind of having come abroad allows you to give a fresh look at your traditions and to appreciate them, revalidate them, or change them. And if you have understood the principle of what your traditions and the value of the Indian sciences offer, then it is extremely, well, I'm saying easy. It is easy in a certain way. When you have the principle, then to adapt the principle to a new situation is easier than to stick to a particular tradition and not want to change it and have a conflict within yourself or also with your surroundings. So one of the things that I think is a little difficult, of course, having come out of your comfort zone, you face the challenges of a new surrounding, but you also have the freedom to try new things. And then once you have kind of, revalidated your tradition, it's also, you have a new appreciation for your newly gained knowledge. And those are some of the plus points, and with also the negative points that you can turn into plus points when you come abroad. I have found it to be an extremely enriching experience, to kind of, inspect what we have come with through our traditional upbringing, and then to put it on a kind of, give it the test of reality, and then kind of progress beyond that to either maintain it or change it. And you enrich not just yourself, your knowledge, but you get a new experience for respecting differences in societies and cultures. And that is what I also find extremely fascinating and enriching. I'll keep it short today. It's a very, as I have now, as you have seen, the topic is extremely wide, and there are a lot of things that can be said. And in each of these aspects, we can go into detail. But I'll keep it brief. If anybody would like to have a write-up on whatever I have spoken and the explanation given in Ayurveda, I can definitely pass on a PDF to the organizers, Bhogya, and that can be picked up with them. For the import of Ayurvedic products, we have an online shop. In the chat, I will give the URL of the online shop, and you're welcome to get in touch with me. I will also give my email in case anybody would like to get in touch with me for any question they might have or any query they might have. You're welcome to get in touch with me after the book, after today's seminar. If there are any questions, please do enter that in the chat, and I'll try to answer them to the best that I can in the question and answer session. Thank you very much. Thank you to Bhogya for having invited me for today.
Thank you so very much, Gayatri ji. Yeah, I had so many questions running in my mind as you were talking. But then I also got my answers towards the short end of your short talk. uh, Actually, I've always been fascinated with Ayurvedic way of treatment, because I've noticed that the Ayurvedic doctors spend a little more time about completely trying to understand what the person's problems are, rather than just go quickly to the issue. And that is a big change that I've always noticed between Ayurvedic way of treating a patient, or uh, everybody is a patient according to me, because we all have some issues or the other. So Ayurvedic medical system of treating a person, as opposed to allopathic way. I'm sure that there are certain allopathic doctors who also do this, but Ayurvedic doctors allot time for conversation, and I've really been fascinated by that. And now I understand that this is more to understand and give a holistic treatment to a person, rather than just attack the problem and not reach the grassroots at all. Identifying. But then, I also was thinking what may be morally and ethically right, because you kept speaking of morally, ethically right, and these value system. And suddenly it just came up to me, especially because of this book that I have read. Excuse me about it, because yeah, what may be morally and ethically right for a person may not be regarded by the society to be moral or ethical. That is sometimes the big problem, and how to react about it. But then you gave a very beautiful answer of appreciate, change, and revalidate the old traditions. I love that, true. That is so true, because I think not just by being away from India and having seen a different culture, but also with age and with reading and with interacting with more people, there's somehow this awareness. And yes, you tend to start realizing that there's something wrong. This is not something that I would enjoy continuing to do. This is not keeping me well. And I think it is time then to revisit, modify, and revalidate. I love that. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful talk and information exchange. Um, I will get back to you during the Q&A session. Now it's time for us to welcome the next speaker of the day. Um, yeah, there's a question. Yeah. So thank you so much, Gayatri ji. And now I would like to welcome Srimati Prema Mysore. She is a licensed, certified. First of all, her CV is mind blowing. I mean, I kept reading it, and it was an inspiration and motivation to me, Prema ji, that I must say. Mm, and I'm sure our yeah, viewers will feel the same. It's a little long, but hold on with me. Everything is worth reading. There's much more, and I had a tough time and challenge to cut it short. So Prema ji is actually a licensed certified public accountant, which is she's a CA, chartered accountant from the state of Minnesota, and an information technology professional, including a certified SAP F1 consultant with nearly 35 years of business experience, technical experience, and expertise in India and USA in various Fortune 500 companies. After 3+ decades of professional experience, she quit her professional life to educate, empower, and enrich people's life with overall health and wellness, which includes physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual health. She considers herself very fortunate to have been under the tutelage of many spiritual masters who have left their footprints and teachings in her spiritual heart. Premaji is an educator and an advocate of universal peace through overall individual health and wellness, which includes physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual health. She is the founder of Rishipath Healthcare Research and Publication International Private Limited in Bangalore, in India. This is an organization to re-establish the rich heritage, wisdom, and knowledge of the sages, rishis of India, and seers of India in every fabric of society. And Rishipath International Foundation is committed to serve the society this way. She is the founder of Sanatha, Minnesota, a 501 charitable and educational nonprofit organization dedicated to educate and increase the awareness of ancient science and overall individual well-being that includes training, research, documentation, preservation, and dissemination of various self-healing modalities as documented in the scriptures and experienced by our sages and seers. She is appointed as a research scientist at the World Institute of Scientific Exploration, WISE, Baltimore, and also serves as Vice Chair Ishan Institute for Self-Healing through Acupressure and Natural Therapy in Bangalore, also in India. So Rishipath's vision is healthy mind and body gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination. Today's topic that Premaji will be covering, like I already said, it's a huge topic. She will be covering about the milestones in a woman's life and its impact on overall well-being, and also significance of prevention and precaution, and Rishi care for women's overall wellness and well-being. I now invite you to make your presentation, Premaji. The mic is all yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Nagashiji. Namaste, everyone. In the spirit of our ancient Rishi tradition, I would like to begin today's session by chanting Om 3 times, followed by the Gayatri Mahamantra. You may all join me as well. We'll start by keeping our spine erect, head, neck, and spine all aligned in a straight line. Eyes gently closed. Hands can be in any mudra you wish to. A nice, long, slow, deep inhalation. No. तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। My humble salutations and prostrations to the Almighty, to the wise rishis, to masters, gurus, sadgurus, acharyas that have imparted this knowledge and wisdom, and to all of you divine souls present here today. I welcome you all, and today we'll be talking a little bit about women's health and holistic well-being in line with the theme of this webinar. This is a presentation of the Trishikpat International Foundation that has been organized by Bhogya.online. I would just like to briefly introduce about Rishipat, just so that it acts as a segue to our topic today. So these are our great rishis, and the vision of Rishipat International Foundation is to globally re-establish the rich, multifaceted dimensions of the Rishi tradition or the Parampara, which is based on the teachings of the Vedas and Vedic literature for every aspect of life and living. Please listen or just observe carefully that we're talking about life as well as living. So, what is our mission? Our mission is to perpetually explore and propagate the path of life and living as seen, walked, and shown by the rishis in its authentic form. In this day of age, where we have an overload of information, how do we sift through this? How do we determine the authenticity? So we go back to the source of our knowledge and wisdom, which is our scriptures and texts, the Vedas and the Vedic literature. I think all of us can relate to this visual in our life. We have gone through various stages of our life, and it's such a positive image for me, very positive visual. Just like Durga has, or the Devi is represented with 8 hands. You can see this is today's Devi, a representation with so many hands and so many hats and caps that we all wear. So, in order to wear all these hats and to fulfill our responsibilities in each of these dimensions of our life and living, what is the most important piece? It is our health and well-being. Research has shown that about 92% of women, we all tend to suffer from some kind of a discomfort or a disorder during various phases of our life. I don't think we need to go into the details, but it suffices to know that we all perhaps can relate to each of these. I've just named a few that we perhaps have gone through all of these disorders, experienced it at some point or the other in our life. So, what is health? What is the difference between health and wellness? Health is a state, and Gayatri ji very beautifully articulated the definition of health as per the World Health Organization, and she also spoke about the Ayurvedic definition. Here, I just want to give you a little bit of a very brief perspective of what is health and what is wellness. Health is a state of physical body, whereas wellness is a state of the being. Now, here is where comes the holistic approach, right? So, as a being, we exist, according to the Taittiriya Upanishad, exist in Panchakoshas in 5 different sheets. It appears to be different, but actually it is all interspersed and integrated in the Panchakoshas, which is the physical, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. The physical sheet, the mental, the prana sheet, the breath, the mental, the intellectual, and the spiritual or the blissful state. So the key over here to remember is that to determine the overall well-being is when a person can realize and experience and unleash the fullest potential that one can and live their life with a purpose, a meaning, and fulfillment. That might be a state of well-being. Okay. So again, let's remember that well-being, when we can unleash our complete full potential, we have infinite potential. It is a matter of tapping and unleashing it. Okay. So why is women's health and well-being so important? It is said, to educate a woman in the family, the entire family gets educated and becomes literate, isn't it? Similarly, I think Gayatri ji or Nagashri ji, somebody alluded to the fact that a woman is the backbone of a society, the family, or the nuclear family, and so forth. So I would like to bring to the forefront where in our scriptures has that been alluded to. Okay, so let's go on and see. So in the Ashtanga Sangraha, it is said, Strihi Mulam Apatyanam Strihi Rakshati Rakshitaha Sarva Ashramanam Prathamam Grahastatvam Anivirita Tikshnopi Kriya Yogai Striyam Yatne Napalayit. What does it mean? It means that the woman is the root cause for progeny, and it is the Grahastha ashram, that is the householder's life, the family life, that she takes care of the other stages of life too of everyone. A woman plays a very key role in this ashrama or in this phase of life. Hence, the health and well-being of the woman must be protected. This is what our scripture also says. So as we all know, life doesn't come with a manual. However, comes with a mother. A woman within herself is a full circle of my energy, right? Life begins there in the womb of a mother. So when we look at it from that perspective, it becomes imperative that we give prime importance to a woman's health and overall well-being, not only for herself, for the family, but also for the society, for the nation, for the world, and for the universe, if we want to attain peace and happiness. So, according to our Veda, here is the reference. It says, Purandhi Yasha Jayatam Shri Yugati Priya Bhavuka Priya Abhavuka Yuva Puman Apriyo Bhavuka. It says, according to the Rig Veda, Purandhi means generous, bountiful, prolific, liberal, kind. Women are the radiating treasure of generosity and kindness. It is very important to respect women. A young boy who does not respect women grows up to be a cruel person. This is the true eminence of a woman, building the character of a person, home, society, nation, and of the whole world. With sacred feelings in heart, we need to respect women. Once we do that, I cannot say there will be no cruelty at all. However, we can reduce the incidence of cruelty, brutality, animosity in our society and in our world. After all, aren't we all in seek of health, happiness, and peace? So it all begins with us. So let's go forward and see what else do our rishis have to say about a woman's health and well-being. So here is the life cycle of a woman, of a baby girl. She goes through different stages of her life: Kumari, Mukta, Taruni, Yauvana, Pragalbha, and Praudha. So if we take these different stages, and if I break it down into 4 phases of the life, then we go through this: menarche, pregnancy, postpartum, and menopause. And in all of these stages, various drastical, anatomical, physiological, and psychological changes takes place. So, as Gayatri ji was talking about Ayurveda, I would like to open it up to more other healing modalities that are there in our scriptures that address these 4 phases of a woman's life. And at Rishipat, we call it as Rishi care. That is, I will go into a little bit of a detail about what is Rishi care. But it is a well-known fact now, especially, that our body has the capacity to naturally heal on its own accord. So with this as a premise, our rishis have given us many, many, many modalities, many, many, many techniques of how to stay healthy, holistically, and also maintain our overall well-being, which means how can we unleash our potential and live our life to the fullest. Okay? So we have a approach of preventive and promotive as well as curative. So for example, if a person is already very healthy, then for them it is a matter of how to prevent and how to promote the overall well-being. And if there is some kind of an affliction, then how do we go about with the prevention? Okay, so that is the premise of Rishi care. So what are the characteristics of Rishi care? It is universal, eternal, and all-encompassing. Has to be, to the great part, has to be natural. Most importantly, it is experiential, no side effects, easy to practice, low cost or no cost, convenience, time tested and proven. You know, it might sound like it is too good to be true, isn't it? Already the mind is playing the game. How is this possible? But my friends, I'm here to tell you myself that yes, it is possible. By adapting and adopting the wisdom of our rishis, we can enjoy health, holistic health, and overall well-being. So here is one case I would like to talk to you about. She was one of my students from my pranayam class, and she's a 15-year-old from California. She had severe menstrual cramping. She was also a Bharatanatyam dancer. So she called me up and she says, "Auntie, I'm so uncomfortable and I cannot keep up with my practice, with my Bharatanatyam practice, especially during my monthly cycle. What can I do?" So I gave her a very small tip and I said, "Take a pen and just roll it on your wrist, on both the wrists and both the hands. How long do I have to do it?" I said, "Do it every day, 2 times a day. What do you have to lose? Nothing. You just need a pen. You just need to have some time." Even I said, when you're listening to your teachers, when you're in the class, you can just do this rolling and you can see what happens. And sure enough, not only was she able to get rid of her cramping, she was also able to uh, feel the strength, the energy, and her levels of energy was very high because now she was not suffering with pain and she was able to divert that energy, channel that energy towards her practice and also towards her studies. So, my friends, like this, we have many, 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 many techniques that our rishis have given us. I just wanted to bring it up as a case in point. So, just as Gayatri ji was talking, our first line of defense is our own kitchen. If we take food as a medicine, then we will not be having any need to take medicine as a food. Okay. So there are some few spices which are always already there in our kitchen. And if we become more aware of how to consume them, in the form of a powder, in the form of a tea, in the form of overnight, soaking it, making it into a paste, So different formulations and different methods of preparation and ingesting it, that itself acts as our boost for our overall health. So dill, fennel. Now fennel seeds. I'll give you one simple property. People laugh when I say this, but the most important part, every system has its place, in our body, but our excretory system has to be in very good shape. And fennel is a very good spice to combat constipation. When the toxins in the body are not eliminated and released, that can be a cause of physical ailments. So you can grind fennel seeds into fine powder, store it in a glass jar, and after every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you can take 1 teaspoon of fennel seed powder with warm water and try it for yourself. Similarly, coriander. Today we have this the case of a lot of people suffering from high cholesterol. Simple remedy for high cholesterol. Take 2 cups of water, add 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds into that, boil it into a tea until it becomes 1 cup. You can strain it and drink it just before your first meal. Solid, whatever solid you're going to eat, first solid meal you eat, you just drink it and then you can have your meal. Now, the tips that I'm sharing with you, I have shared it with hundreds of people over 12 to 15 years of my practice as a healer. And inevitably, these spices have never failed me so far. So why don't you give it a try? Nutmeg, very effective for insomnia. You can take warm milk at night, add a pinch of nutmeg in that, consume it before bedtime, and helps to eliminate insomnia. So you see, we already have all of these spices in our kitchen that we can make use of and stay healthy. Here are some herbs for our overall well-being. Shatavari is for a general tonic. Guduchi is very good, or Giloy is very good. In Bangalore, in India, we call it as Amritvalli. It's very good for balancing the hormones. Manduka Parni balances hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis and calms the mind. Vasa can be used in excessive bleeding. Brahmi balances the HPO axis, calms the mind. Night jasmine helps to decrease menstrual pain. Swasti for nutrition and strength to uterus, ovary, and developing follicles. Hibiscus can be used in excessive bleeding, and aloe vera can be used in painful menstrual cycle. This is just a sample of some of the herbs that can be used for overall well-being that I'm sharing with you. We have at our Herbal Garden and Research Center, we do have all organic saplings, and if you wish to, you may contact us for further procurement of these saplings as well. So, nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Says who? Madame Curie was the Nobel laureate. So, just want to end my session by saying that according to Manusmriti, it is said that Yatra Naristu Pujante Ramante Tatra Devataha, where women are worshipped, there rejoices the divine. So I would like to share a few more tips over here. First, especially for our overall well-being. Again, it has to be natural according to our Rishikesh modality. So all of us women, we can just massage our wrist, hold your wrist, and you can vigorously massage this. Extremely, extremely good for your gynecological problems in both your hands. For the various life cycle of a woman, I would also like to share with you a few tips. For example, before a little girl attains puberty, it is very important to prepare the child physically and mentally for the attainment of puberty. Now you may ask me how. Again, this is such a vast topic. It has so much of depth that I would say we have we have not even scratched the tip of the iceberg. We are only looking at the iceberg. Okay, but I'll just give you a couple recipes or remedies for menstrual irregularities. From the time a child attains puberty, it takes a few months and sometimes maybe a year or two for the menstrual cycle to get regulated. And it is during this time that a child goes through a lot of ups and downs in terms of many physical bodily changes, also mentally and emotionally. So, to regulate this menstrual cycle, we have a very simple remedy. You can take fennel seeds and give them 3 grams of fennel seeds twice a day. Again, take it in the form of a powder with warm water. Twice a day, it helps to improve estrogen levels. For menstrual cramping, I already showed you using this technique is very good, but also carom seeds or ajwain, if taken 2 grams twice a day, it helps to decrease menstrual pain. How would you take that? Take 2 cups of water and you can add 2 grams of carom seeds in that. Boil it until you see the color change. You can strain it and drink it. Extremely good. Also taking asafoetida or hing. Take about 3 pinches of hing in half teaspoon of ghee, pure ghee, and it can be taken by mouth for menstrual cramping. Now comes the phase of pregnancy. So for morning sickness, there is a very good spice that we can resort to, which could be the cardamom, small cardamom, or even a clove. Just keeping it in the mouth also is very good for combating nausea, morning sickness. And I will also show you another very, very simple technique or a tip for any kind of nausea, travel sickness, morning sickness, motion sickness, to calm the mind. The mind is very agitated. To calm the mind, find your wrist joint where your wrist is moving up and down. 3 finger breaths. Place it on the wrist joint, and here is the spot here. Just go and stimulate it and massage it. This is extremely good for nausea and very, very safe. It can be stimulated during pregnancy. Now, throughout the pregnancy itself, month by month, there are dietary restrictions and there is care package month-wise. Okay. Again, this is all topics of discussion that we have to go into the depths of it. So it's at this point, I'm just here to educate and bring the awareness of the vastness of the ancient science and what our rishis have already given us. Okay. One more thing that is really important for a pregnant mother or a pregnant woman is chanting. You know, for those of us who have been in the West, the question is, where is the time? I'm a professional. I have this, that, and the other. I have a family to take care. I have a social life. I have so many other things to do. You know, where is the time to sit and actually do the chanting? Okay. So here I am telling you the shortest, sweetest, and the most effective, powerful, potent mantra is the two-syllable Om. Pure, simple Om chanting has proven to give many, many, many health benefits, not just physical, but also mental, emotional, social, and spiritual. Okay. Just by the chanting of Om and because of the vibrations of the chant, the 107 murmur centers in the body, they get activated and stimulated just to this frequency and sound of vibration of Om chanting. Very important. Also, ghee. 1 teaspoon of ghee in a cup of warm milk can be taken by a soon-to-be mother to facilitate a safe childbirth, natural childbirth. And when it comes to childbirth, there are many other techniques that we have for a painless and natural childbirth. And I have suggested it to quite a few of my women friends for their daughters, and it has been proven very effective and successful, including my own daughter. Okay, so oil application to get rid of the stretch marks. Then comes the phase of childbirth, then comes menopause. I'll just have to skip because we're running out of time here, but I will just give you one simple tip. During menopause, because of the imbalances in the hormones, the skin tends to become very dry. Simple, pure coconut oil application is very effective for that dryness, to address the dryness. So here are some of the courses that are available at Rishpat, especially for women's health and holistic well-being. Rajaswala Paricharya. Now, this is the regimen that is recommended during the menstrual cycle, also during pregnancy, even to conceive, and for the different phases of life. Garbha Sanskar and childbirth, natural and painless, I just talked to you about it. Postnatal care of the mother and the baby, PCOS, PCOD, vaginal fumigation, vaginal douching, and many more such courses are available and we offer here at Rishipat. With that, I would like to say my special thanks to Acharya Dr. Mahesh Anand Vidyalankar, who is the founder of Rishipat International Foundation. Bhogya.online, especially to Swati, volunteers from USA, India, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and all around the world. Our Rishipat office team in Bangalore, Haridwar, and USA. All our members, participants, and supporters of Rishipat from all over the globe. And to each one of you participants who are here today, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude for being here, and especially to Malti ji for inviting me to this series of the webinar. Again, this is a very, very vast topic, and Like I said, we have barely even looked at it, looked at the iceberg to determine the intensity and the depth of it. So this is just a beginning, an awareness program, and I always like to give and give and give. So I will also would like to give one mudra for all of us, because we are always towards the end of the day, we feel like we are running out of energy. So the pran mudra, my friends, is a very good one that you can touch the tip of the thumb to your little pinky finger and ring finger, palm facing the sky. Place it on your knees and then just take a few deep breaths and experience the burst of energy, which is very much needed towards the end of the day. So here is how you can contact us. Our office is there at Bangalore. We have the registered office as well as our operating office. And here is some of our products for women's health and holistic well-being. Here I would just like to make a mention that at Rishipat, we go to the source, which is we go to the Vedas and the Vedic literature, to our scriptures, and we study the Mula mantras, and based on the intuitive wisdom that comes by meditating, by doing the dhyana on these mantras, we prepare our formulations. We have many, many products that I'll just go over, especially for pain management, for overall well-being, for bones, for stress management, for hair. And again, this is our own product made at home. I extend an offer for all of you to try it and see it for yourself. May the whole world enjoy health, happiness, peace, prosperity, and wisdom. I would like to conclude with a Shanti mantra from the Yajurveda. Om शान्तिरन्तरिक्षं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिर्ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सा मा शान्तिरिति ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. May we all enjoy health, happiness, peace within, and peace throughout the universe. Namaste, everyone. Thank you.
Many, many thanks, Premaji. I've always heard you are what you eat, and that's true. Our first line defense comes from our own kitchen. That's true. Thank you for the very extensively, I mean, a free information talk. This was really informative and very useful. I'm sure many among the audience were rubbing their wrist, and I had a pencil in my hand for trying to. Uh, it's really energizing. I'm looking forward to tonight when I can do my mudra and take deep breaths before going to sleep. Thank you so much. I've no words. Since you are running out of time because you have guests at home, I would like to honor that and quickly jump on to the Q&A session. We have a few questions already from the people who have registered. So there's one, Dr. Shrija Bhadri Narayanan from Germany. He says, so this question is to both Gayatri ji and you, Prema ji. So I would request both of you to turn on your videos and come online. That would be great because either of you can take the questions as per convenience. Yeah. So he says Sanatana Dharma holds motherhood in a high pedestal. Young, aspiring women tend to give importance on climbing up the career ladder. ignoring their duty towards their young children. Could you please share your opinion on this? Yeah, I think this probably more for Premaji, but of course, Gayatriji, you're as welcome to give your view.
Uh, can you repeat the question once for Nagashriji? I was
Yeah.
looking at
So
Matiji's message here.
okay,
Mm.
okay. So Sanatana Dharma holds motherhood in a high pedestal. Young aspiring women tend to give importance on climbing up the career ladder, ignoring their duty towards their young children. Could you
Mhm.
please share your opinion on this? I think, yeah, it's a difficult situation and a difficult question too.
Um, I would hesitate to generalize about in responding to this question. However, I will certainly speak about my own life and my own experience, having raised children in the United States.
Mhm.
Yes, it is not an easy task. Today, parenting is not an easy task in any part of the world. Okay. However, mine goes back to almost 35 years ago, and I have I have adult children now. They're adults now. Yes, but one thing I will certainly say is that this is what my daughter, who's soon going to be 40, she's the one who told me. She said, Mom, the best thing that you did was you were just a mom. You did not try to be my friend. She said, friends galore. I have galore. I have plenty of friends. I didn't need friends. What I needed was strict boundaries to be drawn, okay, and knowing where to draw the line and knowing exactly how much of the leeway that I can give her and sticking to it. Secondly, again, I emphasize is, let us not try to be friends. We need to be a mother. Okay. We need to draw the lines. We need to draw the boundaries. We need to set down the rules and we need to enforce them as well. Okay. And secondly, I would say is that children learn from observing rather than hearing.
Mhm.
Okay. If if I want to instill certain values in my children, I have to practice it myself first.
Right.
Okay. So simple example I'll give you. You know, in Sanatana Dharma, we take care of our elders. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, isn't it? And I was one of those very, very fortunate ones who actually had the opportunity of having my 80 plus year old mother in law live with us in the United States. So my children got to see a first hand experience of how mom and dad are taking care of our elders in the family. It's one thing to say, this is what our tradition is, or this is what
Mm,
our value system is, or this is what our tradition is. But it is something else to actually demonstrate it and show it to them.
agree.
And of course, we all as parents know that we never know, the fruits of our parenting is when our children start parenting. That's when we get to observe, what is it that they are emulating? What have they learned from us as parents, right? And sure enough, when her mother-in-law was terminally ill and was, in the last phases of her life and in hospice care, she took time off from her work for a whole month and flew down to her mother in law. And she literally took care of her, including carrying her from her wheelchair and taking her to the bathroom and bringing her back and laying her on the bed. You know, that day I said, thank you, God, for having given me the opportunity. Nothing else, at least this thing has stuck in her mind. And she always told me that, I'm never going to, my in-laws will never go to a senior home. There, I'm going to take care of them.
Wow.
We never said anything. We never imposed our ideas or our opinions on our children. However, they just observed us. Okay. So what I'm trying to say over here is that it is not an easy task, but it is an opportunity for us to practice the Sanatana Dharma. And the best way is to just live it. And to live it, we need to know it, and we need to be aware of it. Right? So I would say that is also part of our mission, is to bring the awareness of our tradition for every aspect of life and activity, based on our Vedas and literature. What does our scripture says? So we go back over there. So yes, it's a, like I said, I do not want to generalize and say anything, but here is my own personal first-hand experience of raising adult children in the West. And
Very beautiful answer.
we have to put in the effort. Yes, getting up in the morning, doing the puja, cooking, fresh meals. Today, my daughter, I have two granddaughters. She asks me very often. She says, "Mom, how did you make fresh food for us every single day?" I'm like, "Thank you." So this is what you remember growing up, that mom cooked a fresh meal every single day. And she strives to do that for her children. Simple things.
I agree, because I have this question to my mother often because there are some times that I'm cooking more just to, save on time because I'm a working lady, full-time working person. I know the challenges. So yes, hats off to all of you for balancing the life the way you did. So the next question, maybe it's for you, Gayatri. What do you suggest? This is from one Shruti Varanasi. She's also from Germany. So she says, what do you suggest to maintain emotional balance and well-being in winter season? So is there any specific Ayurvedic medicine that is available or that you can suggest?
Yeah. Winter in Germany, when she says for maintaining mental balance, I presume the imbalance tends to go towards depression.
Right, and emotional balance, yes.
Yes, and lack of energy as well as perhaps, yeah. So there, ashwagandha and brahmi would be the herbs of choice. Ashwagandha, the word means ashwa is horse. And gandha, so it gives you a little bit of horsepower.
Horse sweat, right? That's what I've read. It smells like the sweat of horse.
Gandha, right.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Yes. But I kind of, translated, it gives you horsepower.
Good one.
Yeah, so that's a good herb that you can use. It also helps you sleep well, so that you wake up, if you sleep well, and you wake up with more energy, and it gives you that kind of dynamism to do things that you would like to do. Sometimes when you're depressed and tired and you lack energy, you might want to do something, but you would lack the sense of, you lack the energy as well as the sense of purpose. You lack that dynamism to not procrastinate, not make excuses. So ashwagandha gives you that kind of vigor and sense of purpose to get up and do what you intend to do. So ashwagandha is good, and you need to be careful about the dose. 1 gram per day, up to 3 grams per day, that needs to be kind of tested out when this is churna. And for pitta persons, they need to kind of see that they don't overdo on the dose. If you have a good sense for your own well-being, you will be able to figure out what is the right dose for you. Or you can always, in Germany, we have Malati mentioned Anusha Shastri. In Germany, we have a Vaidya Association. And, if anybody in Germany would like to contact any of the Vaidyas, they're welcome to get in touch with me. They have a website, IFAD. I can share the website of the Vaidyas as well, who are here in Germany. You can contact one of the Vaidyas who will also help you with specific information. more in-depth information. So ashwagandha and brahmi would be good for German winters or European winters.
Okay, good to know, because I've actually been taking ashwagandha with my own internet research for sinuses, but then I think I need to contact you. I'll get in touch with you personally for more information, because this dosage and other things that you're talking of is something that I not very clear about if I'm doing it right. So best to get in touch with you. So yes, please.
Yes, I have a point on the previous question.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. I've been a single mother in Germany, so I know the balance that you need to keep. And about being a good mother, as well as, following your career or whatever. I mean, I know that once somebody asked me, can you do justice to both? And the point is that, yes, you can do justice to both, but you need to pace yourself, and so you have to kind of, plan ahead. You know that, when school starts, when there are certain phases in school which are more demanding, and you also know what your own, your pace at work is likely to be. So you need to do a lot of planning to make sure that, you're doing justice to one or the other. And I had to make sure that there are phases when my children were priority, and there were phases when I had to make sure that they understood that in the next 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, I will have less time, and we have planned this, that, and the other. And of course, you need a support circle.
Yes.
You can't do things on your own. You need a support circle. So women, generally, you have to organize your support circle, especially when you're abroad. Whether it's friends, neighbors, your partner, husband. So, organizing your support circle is important, and you need to plan in advance, and you need to make sure the people who are with you in your support circle know which priority is when. So there were times when you say, okay, the next 1 month, I'm going to be doing this, that, and the other. And you plan your life as per the priority that needs to be taken. So, talking about dharma and, what you give to your children, as Premaji also said, are the values. And you give them through your example. You don't have to do it, you don't have to kind of make sure that 24/7 you are trying to tell them something, show them something. There are some points in time where you can, make sure that a certain point comes across and they understand the principle of what needs to be understood. So, if you think of your childhood, there will be isolated events which have made an impression on you and which you remember for the rest of your life. Yes. So as parents, not just as mothers, as parents, both mother and father need to kind of, make sure that the values that they want to inculcate, the principle, the values that they want to inculcate in their children, that they are understood. Be it honesty, be it being fair, be it, pay attention to what you're eating, pay attention to what you're feeling. Make sure that you understand, okay, something is not going right, that you communicate with your parents, and all these things, that trust, reliability, all these different aspects that belong to family life and dealing with relationships, that your children understand that, and basically, trust and reliability are some of the main things. So when the children trust you and they know that you will be fair, you will understand their circumstance in a foreign environment, and you don't try to make them do it as per the tradition in India, but you have enough understanding for the situation that they are facing in a different circumstance, and you help them to think things through and, show them, okay, what is the ultimate outcome that we need? You need to be able to cope with your friends. You need to be able to, whatever that situation may be.
Right.
If you walk through that situation with your children, they trust you, then it generally works out fine.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It takes a village to grow a child, and this village
Yes.
needs to be fit and fine too. And we actually undermine the holistic development of a child. I think since the topic is holistic well-being, holistic development of the child is so much more important too. Most often, at least we Indian parents tend to give importance and more importance rather to school and grades. But the rest that you have actually mentioned here is holistic development. Thank you so much. Yeah. I open now the Q&A to the audience who are online on the call. Any questions from the audience in the call, please? There's a lot of information here from both Malati ji and one of the audience. Any questions?
Namaste. I'm Dr. Shrija Badrinarayanan. So from Germany, that the first question was from me. Thank you very much for the extensive answer for both the respected dignitaries. I got a lot of new perspective. My heartfelt thanks for both of them. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad that you got your answers. I think we don't have any more questions, so sorry to cut it short. I think Premaji has guests at home, and she's a little short of time. So maybe yes, it's time to end our webinar today. I mean, yeah, very interesting. There is so much more, and like both the speakers said, we've only looked at even the tip of the iceberg, not even the iceberg by itself. So today is just an introduction, and I'm sure that Malatiti, looking at the response and the interest in the topic, she will organize more such talks and invite the speakers once again. Hopefully, I'm requesting you, Malatiti, to have more such and probably continue on holistic health and medicine and development. Yeah, it's unfortunately, time to end. All that's lovely comes to a quicker end. So on that note, I would like to thank both Premaji and Gayatri for the introduction that they have given, the time that they have spent, that on a Sunday evening, especially Premaji with guests at home. I really appreciate you. Thank you. I'm sure that all of us will contact you personally and also through Bhogya. Yeah, someone says that, yeah, their questions were also answered. So that's great. So on that note, I would also like to say Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you very much on behalf of Bhogya. I also thank all the participants, their enthusiasm and making this whole webinar success. Thank you, Bhogya. Thank you, the two great speakers and the audience. Have a good evening.
Thank you.